Fabulous. Our next speaker needs no introduction, but I'll introduce her anyway. Miranda Hutten has been managing the Urban Community Forestry Program for the Forest Services Region 5 for 10 years? Almost 10? Almost 10 years now. So Miranda has been our federal, I was going to say overseer, that doesn't sound good. Our federal champion, yeah, for really the last 10 years. Miranda's region covers not only California, but also Hawaii and the assorted islands affiliated with the US. So without further ado, and really, I think Miranda really has been a champion for California urban forestry. We are far away physically from DC, and that has in the past been reflected in some Forest Service decisions. But in the last 10 years, we've done a lot better. And a large part of that is Miranda's doing. So thank you and welcome, Miranda Hutten.
Sorry if I take this off. I'm a walker. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Igor, for the wonderful introduction. For those that don't know about our program, I am going to just do a quick overview and talk as I go through this overview, gives a few updates about some of the things we're working on and some of the things that are coming online in the future that we're hoping for your partnership and collaboration with. So for those that don't know us, we are the U.S. Forest Service, and we're here to help. We provide technical assistance, financial assistance, education, and outreach in order to maximize the benefits that our trees and communities can provide, ensuring an equitable, healthy, resilient urban tree canopies and communities here in California. And the primary way we do this is through partnership with you all. And without your partnership, none of the things that we've talked about today or hoping to do in the future would be possible. And who do we partner with? Well, we partner with a whole lot of folks. It's a long list. We partner with private landowners, nonprofit organizations, public health groups, tribal groups, indigenous groups, cities, counties, towns, municipalities, states, religious organizations, women's organizations, and everything in between. But we also work to partner internally with the U.S. Forest Service. We're just one branch of many in the Forest Service. So you heard from Dr. Francisco Escobedo earlier. He's part of our research branch. But we also try to leverage the resources of our national forest system. Many of those national forest systems are urban forests. And in fact, out here, just if you take a peek outside, you get to see one of our urban national forests here in LA. As Igor mentioned, we cover a really wide area. We cover the entire United States, our territories, and our Pacific Compact affiliated islands. I cover just a small part of this. I cover California, our Pacific affiliated islands, and Hawaii. And I don't do this alone. I have a really amazing team that helps me do it. It used to be, if I was giving this conversation a year ago, it was a team of 2. And I'm really happy to say, amazingly, we have kind of transformed in the last year, and we have a team of 8 folks helping deliver this program, including our newest addition who is here today. Michelle, can you just stand up just real quick? Thank you, folks, for giving her such a warm welcome. I am so excited to have Michelle as part of our team. She's place-based here in LA, right around the corner. Come and say hi, but also come and visit us at our offices here in El Pueblo. We're really excited to have that additional support and leadership. And in partnership, a lot of people have talked a little bit about this already. One of the big components, as I mentioned, is we provide financial assistance. And in terms of updates, it's the Inflation Reduction Act. It has been a huge game changer for us in the work that we do. $1.5 billion was made available to communities across the United States to do workforce development, tree planting, policy maintenance, education and outreach, working with a variety of different groups and everything in between. This was a historic investment. $250 million was made available to our state agencies to act as pass-throughs. I'm willing to bet money Henry's going to talk about that one in a little bit. But also, we held a national competition last year for $1.13 billion. We awarded 385 projects across the United States. That's huge for us. As mentioned earlier, that we used to be a $36 million program. Of that, 198 projects were direct awards, i.e. I'm working directly with those partners, and the remainder ones are going through a variety of national pass-through organizations like Green Latinos, as example here in California. Some people have asked me, they're curious, well, what does that look like? And I just wanted to say before I go into these numbers, a big thank you to our California partners. We know that the turnaround on this RFP was pretty quick, and it was amazing the amount of projects that came in from California. Just so you all know, we had $1.13 billion to hand out in partnership. We got requests almost to $7 billion of requests. Yeah, that shows not only that we have a great need, but there's still so much we need to do and continue this good work in a variety of formats. In California, you received $88 million just in direct awards. That's not including what is open right now, which I'm sure Henry will talk about, so I won't steal any more of his thunder, but additional pass-through entities have already started awarding additional funding to states. As I mentioned, another $7.3 million is going to 11 cities in Southern California. In Southern California, 47 million, and just in the LA area alone is $34 million of that total. With that increase in financial assistance, that huge bump up that's frankly transformed how we do business, we've had to step up our game in technical assistance too. As I mentioned, we missed some slides there. Okay. I think we got some slides missing. So in technical assistance, as I mentioned, we have a number of new folks that are a part of our team. Many of you who have received IRA grants already have probably been talking to my assistant program managers, Laura Wolf or Alicia Scott Sanchez, or our new communication specialist, Pauline Ordonez. In addition to the wonderful Michelle that's place-based here in LA, we have someone also place-based in Hawaii and our Pacific Islands. And we have brought in grants administrative staff to help navigate the federal process if you haven't done that before, including pulling some folks out of retirement. They cared that much about making sure the UCF program moved forward, that they came out of retirement and volunteered their time to help move this forward. As part of that team, we've been putting together a series of resources, which I had pictures of, but I will just verbally tell. We had a series of resources. We are updating nationally a lot of the tools and resources, how to create good policies, how to create good forest management plans, translating those into a variety of different languages and opportunities through our Vibrant Cities Lab website. We're also creating new grant templates and workshops as well. I'm really happy to announce on July 18th, we're partnering with California State University Northridge to have a grantee-to-grantee networking event to allow folks here in the LA and Southern California area to get to know about each other's projects, to see if you can all leverage those resources that you received in IRA to continue to move forward in the communities that you're sharing work in. But that's just one part of the piece of the puzzle to start it. We're also going to be having a series of webinars hosted throughout the first 3 years of this grant award that will allow you to have both technical assistance with how to do projects on the ground, but also how to navigate all of the financial stuff that goes along with that as well. Education and outreach. We've talked a lot about that today, but I just did want to highlight a couple resources that we have that are coming online as well soon too. To remind everybody that we have this wonderful collaboration as an information research destination hub, place-based here, a block away, called the LA Urban Center. It's located in the historic El Pueblo area, the heart of and the founding area of LA. And that's where Michelle is located. And the role of the LA Urban Center is it does a lot of really cool things. It convenes groups to bring together. We've revamped our research fellows program to answer questions that you all have identified as research topics for them to answer and provide practical results. We're acting as a convening entity. This fall, we're hoping to have an annual partners meeting. I'll let Michelle, I won't steal her thunder, go up and ask her a little bit about that. I'm sure she'll want to share a little bit about that. And last but not least, we're just continuing to do our outreach, bringing in field rangers and other folks from the national forest systems into our urban areas to share, educate about our urban trees and forests as well. Oh, and one other cool outreach thing we're working on is we're actually working in the confluence of art, research, and education outreach. We'll be having a downtown installation about our connections to water, or sometimes our disconnections to water, and where we want, or what is the value we have want it with water moving forward. One last education and outreach tool. This is not made available, and it's not as cool as what was said, the Planet Geo viewer, but we will be in the next month or so putting out a publicly available tool, a map viewer tool to see where all of our projects are, who's managing those projects, and where those investments are going into our community. One of the things we really care about is making sure that folks in the public, if they're interested in, say, growing tree plantings, they know where to connect to, or your partners within these organizations are looking to connect on activities that they're doing together so they can share each other's resources. That will be available. Also, this is going to help us, frankly, answer a lot of that storytelling question that we get from congressionals and that are asking, and those that have funded us, where this funding is going and the impact it's going to have. And so just invite you to, once that is available, to share and try it out and help us share that message. And I'm being fast. Last but not least, I would just say, none of this is possible without the partnership of you all and the work that you have provided over the years, the advocacy and support, not only of our program, but this Inflation Reduction Act that has been a huge transformational piece of the puzzle for a lot of communities. And just wanted to thank you again and look forward to continuing that relationship and making new ones with folks that we haven't had a chance to talk to in the room. And at that.
All right, questions?
That's okay.
This is your chance. All right.
Oh, I'm good.
Megan is going to go extract the question out of somebody. Anybody?
Don't need to extract a question. Okay.
Oh, come on. This is your chance to ask the feds. Trademark. Ah, there is a question up there. Hold on. Hold on.
Hello.
Hi.
Concerning the logistics of the Inflation Reduction Act, how fast would you say that the programs that are being formed, how fast do you think they could be implemented?
That's a really great question. So let's just do a little timeline here. Is most of the awards were announced in August. We're right now finalizing most of the grant agreements. And in fact, I would say, I believe we're at 95% completion of all of those grants. And so almost all of those projects are just starting right now in this year and in the summer. And so most of these grants have 5 years, all of these grants have 5 years for completion. And so over the next 5 years is kind of the timeline that most of these projects have to complete work.
a connection to that question. And thank you very much. We were in that first round.
Yeah.
I know there's a second set that is due on May 30th in terms of applications. And it was said to me sort of under a table and off to the side. I questioned how quickly those answers could come around. They're due on the 30th, and I think we want to start drawing contracts up on July 1. And I said, I don't believe they can do that. Nothing's ever worked that fast. And then that person said, it's about the election, and it's about pushing these agendas through in advance of November. And I'm interested if you're allowed to address that.
Well, I can't address the last part, but what I will say is that is the funding you're mentioning is I think the second tranche of funding through CAL FIRE. And so we're not really, why we're helping review and shaping some of the requests for proposals in terms of capacity to get that funding executed. I'm going to defer to my colleague over here, Henry, to maybe share. Okay.
So you had all this great news, right? You know,
Yeah.
things are really wonderful. So just out of curiosity, what's your biggest challenge at this, with all this?
All of this? Ooh, that's a great question. I think it's been the capacity buildup. I think I share your challenges that I heard throughout the day today, that building up capacity quickly in the federal government has not been the easiest of tasks. But I've been really fortunate that some of this IRA money could go to people to help on the ground. And so I would say that's been my biggest concern and challenge is, making sure we have some really great folks in place. So when you need the help, when you want to have dial a Miranda moment, you can have a dial Michelle moment instead, because she is she's the same as me, if not better, at answering some of these questions. And so that's been our biggest challenge, is to make sure that we're responsive to you all in this. And I would say our other big challenge that is maybe in the horizon is telling the story of what we were able to accomplish and the impact here in ways that we can tell the public, tell our communities, involve our communities, and also very selfishly tell our congressionals so we have that opportunity again sometime in the future.
Can you please expand a little bit on that about congressional storytelling? What kind of details are you looking for? I'm assuming that you're getting those stories from grant reporting. So when you are submitting your grant reports, can you please give some examples of what are good details to add to help you in your congressional storytelling?
Great, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So we have a brand new grant template that really tries to identify some of those nexuses of where we can share that story with. Right now is what I call, frankly, the silly season. It's the time up until the election where we get tons of requests for all sorts of different questions going on. Some of them that are very interesting and asking about projects that we haven't even granted yet if they are complete. So the more information just in general about where you are in the events or opportunities for us to kind of share your story is really important. Finding out about it after the fact is much harder. Please invite us to those opportunities to engage with community. Michelle and I want to be a part of that, and to be able to help share that story and tell that to our congressionals about the impact that this had would be really great. And tools like what we just saw earlier about where the trees are planted, that's another great way to help us tell that story. Because we don't want this to be a one-off moment. We want this to be transformative. We want this moving forward to be the norm, not the exception.
If you want to get invited to events, how much forewarning do you need?
Well, it depends. If you want just me, not that much forewarning, but I will say that our leadership, all the way up to the chief, has expressed an interest to come out here and participate. Our chief of the Forest Service, which is kind of our fearless leader, that reports directly to the secretary, is really interested in engaging and learning about urban and community forestry. our national forest systems are interested with their people to help you if needed, and that type of work. So it just depends on what the ask is.
Okay, so you're talking about inviting people from DC, if you're talking about the chief back east.
Yeah.
It's Randy Moore, who used to be the chief for our region. So how much time to invite somebody from back
6 to 8
east?
months.
Did you say 6 to 8 months?
Yes.
Oh, plan ahead.
Plan ahead. That's the challenge.
Or anybody else?
Yep.
Because we've got to move on to Henry.
Fast question, I think. Can we find out from either of you what projects you have underway in any given area? So, for example, I'm not aware of a Forest Service project in Long Beach, but I'd feel really stupid if I went and tried to do something and found out you're already well underway with some other partner.
So that's what that map is going to do in a very real way on a census tract level. It's going to show you what's happening in Long Beach, what census tract is working on, and what types of, we've coded every single project. So you all, because we felt we didn't want to ask to burden you all about that. So we read through all of your projects and coded it on what we thought was important things to pull out. So you can not only search on tree planting projects in Long Beach, but you could say, I'm interested in all of the projects. How many projects are working with tribal groups in the California area as well? And things like that. So that will be able to answer that portion just for federal investment at this point. It'll be ready really soon. You can see the viewer, we've got it. I'm really, frankly, just waiting for it to go through the federal review process. And that'll take a little bit, like a month or so.
I just had a question with the congressional reporting aspect. It just sparked just like a thought in my head. I was curious, when we make a post on Instagram or something like that, would it help if I didn't look at the grant template or anything that I'll definitely check that out, the one you mentioned, but like putting a hashtag for the Forest Service or like for our local congressperson or something like that. Does that actually, from your perspective, does that actually really help you? Or?
It does. And we're actually nationally creating some social media campaigns. We just had a thunderclap. I don't know if anybody's participated. Yeah. So our leadership in the national office is really trying to build up that social media presence. We do have some limitations as a federal government about what we can and can't put up there. But yeah, that would be an amazing ask